All right, today we're going to make a roux. There are a couple different stages of roux, and it goes all the way up to a dark roux. I need to make a gumbo today, so I'm making a dark roux anyway. I figured I'd make this video so you guys can see the difference in the roux. And I don't know what they're called. I can't remember. I know there's the brown roux, blonde roux, dark roux, whatever, but in this video you will see all the stages of the roux. So I'm going to move this. The first thing you're going to need is a pan, okay? And you want to use equal parts, and I got it on high right now, equal parts of fat and flour. So I got 1 cup of oil, which I used a mix of grapeseed oil and olive oil. Grapeseed oil has a high burning point. Olive oil has a nice flavor. Mix them up. You see that? Yeah. See if I can switch this camera over. I'm new at this, so don't mind me. Okay, like I said, I got this on high. You want to do this on low if you're a beginner, and you know it could take you right around a half an hour to get it done if you're making a dark roux. But I'm going to turn this down because I'm using one hand, and just for sakes of showing you, right now you got a white roux. Okay, it's just flour and butter mixed together. You want to get it to thicken a little bit more than this. Not all the flour is incorporated. Okay, that's a little thin. So I can always add a little more flour. Actually, yeah, that's a little thin. Okay, so I added a little more flour just to get it to the right consistency. Now, the roux is going to be used to thicken anything you want to thicken, really. I mean, gravies, sauces. You could also use a slurry, which is water and cornstarch, and you don't have to cook it. But a slurry gives you more of a gelatin type consistency, and I use it a lot for more like Chinese food and stuff. But with gravies and sauces, and especially gumbo, you need this because we're making a dark roux. And what it is this is your roux right here. Now it should be a little thicker if you're going to go with this roux. Let's make it a little thicker. I think my measurements must have been off. Okay, there we go. Now, this right here has very high thickening power. This will thicken, but it doesn't have much flavor. As you cook it, it's going to get a little darker. Okay, let me turn this back up to high. And like I said, you're going to want to do this on low if you're a beginner, because there's a fine line between dark and burnt flour, no bueno, no good. But you don't want to leave it. You want to keep it stirring. Okay, at this stage, this is what I call a blonde roux. I believe that's what it's called. It's got a little color to it. Okay. Now, it has a little bit of flavor as well, that flour cooking in that oil. And traditionally, making a roux, you're going to want to use butter. When making a dark roux, though, the oils are better because butter burns quick. Oh, see how that's starting to... Take it off the heat for a minute. Starting to stick to the bottom of the pan. Alright, so like I said, now we got the blonde roux, which is going to have more flavor because of that flour cooking in there, but it's going to have less thickening power. So this next stage of bringing it up is going to take a minute. So by the magic of TV, bam, peanut butter roux. It's got the slight texture or color of peanut butter, and it's got like a little bit of a nutty flavor and even less thickening power. Okay, at this point, I call this a chocolate roux. It almost has the color of chocolate. It has a very, very high flavor and very little thickening power. And I don't know if you can tell that or not. Through my phone here, it almost looks like spaghetti sauce, but I can assure you it's not. And what happens here is the oil gets in between the grains of the flour and stops it from sticking together. And that's how you don't get roux balls in your gravies and stuff. And with the gumbo, I'm going to want to get to the next stage, which has lots of flavor and no thickening power at all. So what I'm doing here to be able to accomplish doing this on high is I lift it up off once in a while and then I put it back down. It's almost to the finished product. I'm looking for a dark, as dark as I can get it without burning it. Honestly, it gets more flavor. Once you burn it, no coming back. So here's the finished product. Here it is. This dark roux. I also like to do this in a cast iron skillet, but I don't have that with me right now. It's at work, which is where I'm going here when I'm done with this. I have a busy weekend up at the beach house and we're short-handed. We're having jambalaya and gumbo, and I need to make the gumbo. So to save me time, I'm making the roux here at home. Since we're short-handed, I can't afford to be standing over the stove. This is one of the specials we run sometimes at the beach bar in Champion, Ohio. I know, a beach bar in Ohio. There you go. And there's your chocolate, dark chocolate roux. So see my gumbo video. You'll see what I do with it afterwards. So now, since I do want a little thickening power in what I'm making, I want my soup to have a little bit of body, and there's no thickening power to this dark roux. I mean, look at how chocolatey that looks. But if you see, it's thicker now. What I did was I added more flour to it to get it to about this consistency. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me all the flavor from cooking down that flour. But this right here is not cooking. I have the stove off. I'm just starting it for dramatic effect. But a little bit of the flour that I added in there is going to give it a little bit of thickening power, but still have all the flavor of the brown roux. So there you have it.